When Jesus in today's gospel talks about the kingdom of heaven, we tend to think of this as an immediate reward or punishment. That is, we envision dying and going immediately to either filthy clouds or burning sulfur pits. This understanding of the kingdom and of the Most High as a white-bearded king sitting on a throne in a toga is heavily influenced by Greek and Roman mythology. Rather than the kingdom of heaven or Sheol, we envision Mount Olympus and Tartarus. For the Greeks, there was significant concern over the immediate fate of the dead and an understanding that whatever that fate was would be the dead's for eternity. Souls of the heroes would go to the Elysian fields and live in eternal bliss, but only those who were truly exceptional would be allowed to enter into Mount Olympus and the kingdom of Zeus. Souls of those who were truly infamous sinners, murderers in particular, were sent to Tartarus to be tormented by demonic beings for all eternity. For the Greeks, most souls did not go to either extreme. Rather, most either died without the coin for Charon and were stuck between life and death, or they entered the fields of asphodel and lost all knowledge of themselves. In the Jewish tradition, the concept of the soul after death was antithetical. You lived, you died, and you were remembered as particularly righteous or sinful, or you were forgotten. Your immortality came not through continuing to exist as an individual soul, but through being remembered by your descendants. Under Greek and Roman conquest and influence, Jews and those Gentiles who were attracted to Judaism brought a concern for a more personal afterlife and the most extreme versions of the afterlife from Greek mythology. The New Testament was written from and Jesus preached from the traditional version of Judaism. But many of us living today and throughout the centuries have heard verses relating to the kingdom of heaven, Sheol, in the last days in terms of this Greek mythological view. Rather than being about a time at the end of all time, in which all is made right, or a goal to strive for in our own time, we hear about the kingdom of heaven and envision Mount Olympus, and about Sheol and envision Tartarus. And we hear that the souls will go immediately to one of these two extremes upon the death of the body. But the kingdom of heaven is something more. This is Jesus talking about a paradise that is created through righteousness and virtue, one without physical pain, yes, but one in which we stop causing one another spiritual and emotional pain as well. It is a vision of true peace and prosperity. And it is not this image of Olympus, of eternal submission to petulant gods, but one in which the constant and all-loving God oversees all. It is one we are invited into at the end of time. And we as Christians believe that the soul exists beyond death. And Jesus talks, as in today's gospel, of a cleansing from sin, including and most especially those sins to which we have become attached and enjoy being part of our existence. But this is not the vision of Tartarus that we hear in Dante. It is a purification that is made painful not by demons, but by our own desires and sinfulness. And Jesus talks about righteous souls entering into the kingdom, but the temporal nature of what happens to souls immediately upon death and until the end of time is not really for us to understand. God and the kingdom of heaven are not fundamentally grounded in this reality. The kingdom we look for is beyond this world and this time. It is one in which we can all live without worry or strife. It is the reign into which we are both called and destined. It is one in which there is nothing that separates us from one another or from our God. And it is one in which we can find true peace. Amen.